Yeah, it looks like we're rolling.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Hold on.
We're live whenever.
Okay, wait a minute.
Good evening and welcome to the December 10th, 2015 meeting of the Newmarket Conservation Commission. I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ezra Temko and Marianne Hannigan gave me notice that they would not be able to make it tonight, and in their absence I'd like to appoint Patrick and Bob as voting members. And Sue, can you please do the roll?
Sure. Jeff Goldnoff.
Present?
Drew Kiefaber.
Present.
Andrew Fry. Here. Bob Gaston.
Here.
Amy Byrne.
Here.
Patrick Reynolds.
Here.
Bob Gaston.
Here.
Oh, I already did that. Never mind. You're still here.
You're here. As at the moment, I don't see any general public here to speak. I would like to ask the commission if it would be all right if we move Amy Gigande from the Newmarket Rec Department to the head of the agenda.
Pardon me?
Excellent. Welcome, Amy. Amy is the Assistant Recreation Director at the town here, and she's here to speak with us. Perhaps give us some assistance with our the process through which people apply and how people know when Shanda Park is being used among participants.
Which is a big challenge.
So thank you very much for coming.
Yes, thank you. The first thing I wanted to just kind of go over was, as you know, I presented last July for the Halloween haunt, and I think what you had mentioned, Jeff, was it came up on a scheduling issue, like, oh, or I think it was for the Music and Arts in the Park series, and then it came up in one of the meetings where someone was looking to reserve it, and someone said, oh, I believe that's the Halloween haunt date, and so forth. So I do have all the dates that I'm looking at for the year 2016. I even mentioned one in, I'll give you just one copy because I'm going to give you more stuff, and I couldn't make that many copies, so I'll just give that to you.
Excellent, thank you.
And I'll just quickly go over it, really. It's the Arts in the Park Summer Concert Series. Last year we did, I believe, attempted 5 dates at Shanda Park. 2 of them rained out. 1 rained out at the Leo Landroff, which you don't really manage. And this year, we're going to try to get us more. If we get more sponsorship money, we're going to try to start as early as Tuesday evenings, June 14th, and go all the way to the end of August. It'll all depend on how much sponsorship money and, you know, the cost of bands and so forth. That planning, the first planning meeting is January 25th at 5 p.m. at the Recreation Department, where we'll start to figure that out. So it might not be every Tuesday, but I figured I'd throw it all in there so you at least knew about it. Another thing that is I'm going to be proposing, or at least we're going to have a planning meeting for January 25th, also is a 2K kayak convoy that would start out of Shanda Park, looking for people who want to sit on that. And we have 20 kayaks at the community center right now, stored in one of our sheds out there, and it's unfortunate many people come and they can't rent the kayak because they have no way to transport it. So the purpose of the 2K kayak is not only for recreation and kind of expose the residents to the Lamprey River from a recreation standpoint for kayaks, but also to try to raise money to build a storage rack for those kayaks. So if we can raise some money to put the kayaks either where the pump station is now or possibly a spot on Shanda Park, then people can rent the kayaks from the rec department still, but they're housed there and nobody has to deal with the transportation. So that's kind of a goal of that, plus a lot of people have responded really only to the idea of having a 2K kayak or some sort of a kayak celebration on the Lamprey. So that might happen this summer. It, again, depends on how many committee members and how much, we don't have really budget for it, so hopefully whatever we try to do. So there's no date set. I'm really waiting for the meeting. Then, of course, we have our Halloween haunt. I'm not sure if you've ever attended that, but we get about 1,200 people file down from the communities, from the library down to Shanda Park, and that place is pretty packed, and they definitely love the park, and so we would ask, it's always the Saturday before October, before Halloween, so it'll be Saturday the 29th. And then the one I'm throwing out there that might not happen till 2017, but I am going to have the first potential planning meeting for that, is Celebrate Newmarket event, and that is an idea that we're proposing, the Recreation Department's proposing to facilitate something coming back in the form of Old Home Day or Heritage Festival, maybe a combination where we're celebrating the old, the new, and recreation. So it's just a form in it. It's very early formations, but we might be using Shanda Park during that event to, recognize recreation and so forth. That, again, is not even, no dates. It's just a thought for 2017, but I am having a meeting, a planning meeting on January 25th. I'm doing it all on, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, boom, boom, boom. See if anyone shows. And then I mentioned there, Jeff, on that form that the thought of possibly requesting a space for the use on Shanda Park for a storage rack, either 10 to 20, or maybe putting 10 down at Pescasset Street, and depending. I do have, working with Peter Sawtell from I have his name somewhere, from Seven Rivers Paddling, and he's interested in helping, and we're looking for funding. And like I said, if we raise money for the 2K, then we might be able to do that. Really trying to get people to utilize the kayaks that we have and use the river now that Shanda Park looks beautiful. Thank you very much. And so that, having said that, and you had mentioned, do you have any questions with that?
I have a few comments or questions.
Okay, sure.
For the 25th, that planning meeting on the 25th, would it be all right if a member of the commission comes?
I would love a member of the commission to come to that. Yeah, the new brochure is about to go out, I would say in the next week or so, and it does mention those dates. We'll probably be, after the new year, announcing it. Especially for Celebrate Newmarket, I am looking for a representative from all the organizations to kayak. I would love to have you involved in that. There was something that just was done at Mill Space Watershed Committee. They had an interest in participating in something like that. So I've already had. Okay, good, perfect. There you go, love it. So yes, that'd be great.
And the kayak storage, do you folks know, is the boat launch on Pescasset Street, is that under the Conservation Commission as well?
I believe
it's a town launch.
I think the Sliding Rock property that's right next to it
Okay.
is.
So just curious.
Yeah,
I didn't remember
isn't the
if we covered
boat
that.
launch state maintained?
Yeah, I
Isn't
think
that-
officially the boat
yeah,
launch is.
officially
Down
game,
Twin
but-
Rivers.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
Where the rack might have to sit on conservation land, but they would launch out of the boat
Yeah, I'm not
launch.
sure where the grass is.
Yeah.
There's a kiosk.
I mean, the idea first is Shanda Park, but it might be too big if we can't, I mean, I look at some things, because it would have to actually, I'm sorry, but it would have to actually be locked, maybe not have a shelter, but it would need to be able, each kayak would need to be individually locked, so they can come down to the community center, get their shell, get their, the key, and then they unlock that kayak.
I think there's some in Portland,
Yeah.
down on the waterfront, that don't really have much of a cover. Their stuff's just kind of locked together.
I was just
somehow.
throwing out some pictures of something larger. I don't think, there's some smaller ones, Like I said, I'm really waiting to see how much interest is in the 2K to know that I'm going to get funding before I go and attempt to try to do that, because like I said, I have no budget for it, so.
Did Steve had mentioned possibly shrinking the area, the fence around the pump station there.
Yeah.
And would that be the kind of the spot, or were you thinking further into the grass? Or
I hadn't really laid it out yet. I was going to wait and talk to Peter from Seven Rivers Paddling to see what his thoughts were, because he definitely, Mike Hoffman connected us via email, and he said he would love to sit down and discuss the sizes. I had asked him to maybe throw me out a ballpark of size, but I didn't get an email today, but we just started connecting. So I might have more information later.
So that's Monday, January 25th.
Mm.
What time?
Oh, I believe I have, yeah, I have one at 6, I have one at 5, and one at 7. So the kayak is at 6 PM.
Okay. And the 5 o'clock one is?
That one is, nope, that's the Arts in the Park,
Arts in the Park.
is at 5, and then the Celebrate Newmarket is at 7. In and out in an hour, gotta see.
We would almost be interested in all of those. because-
Well, and that would be great, that's why I said, let's just move along.
At the park, partially at the park in some way or another, yeah. So, aside from those topics, the process of the whole usage process that we were
Mhm.
kind of looking at, and so do you have, there's a calendar online at the rec?
We keep a book, more or
Okay.
less, and I prepared a packet for you because when you're talking about something that, like Shanda Park, which is such an open and public area, and if somebody's, I mean, what kind of requests are you getting as far as?
We've had birthday parties, wedding showers, service, sometimes it's the Easter Sunday service I think they have there. The fella that, Jerry Collins puts his nets in and takes his
Mhm.
nets out for the chicks weir.
Yeah. It really
Maybe
is a
three-
matter
what-
of.
What do you think, maybe 3 to 5 a year?
Yeah.
Sound about right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Lobster bake.
primarily bigger events that are drawing larger crowds.
Marathon,
The
Great Bay,
lobster
the Great Bay 5K,
bake.
lobster
Oh, yeah,
bake.
the lobster.
So one of the things you want to think about, is it a public or non-public event? Are they going to be using tents, stakes? Is it nonprofit, profit? Are they generating revenue out of this? I mean, these are things that, when we determine if we're renting the facility at the town hall, I mean, at the community center, are they renting it to make money? Then I'm going to charge them. Are they a 501c3 of Newmarket and it's a nonprofit? Then it's a different story as far as how we go about renting it. We have, the rec department has a packet, and I'm
Do you guys
gonna-
rent the space or just let people use it?
No, we rent
Yeah, we
the
don't, we don't rent.
community center.
Yeah, that we don't rent, we just allow people.
What
to
about
use
your
it.
outdoor pavilion? That's more
The
comparable.
the gazebo is rented at $25 for a resident. They have to come in and they rent it out for
Could
$25.
like a for-profit company rent that as well?
Yep, as long as, I believe they need to be residents of Newmarket.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's hard to monitor those things when, we're the rec department, we're open from 8:30 to 4:30, and somebody might be coming on the weekend. We give them the form after they sign it, and it basically says, here you go. And if they've rented, we have a little bit more ownership of making sure that nobody's using that. If it's free, here's the piece of paper, you can show the people if they're sitting on the picnic table, but we don't really have the staffing to say, you need to move. And that would be a concern that I would have with you, is if you're reserving that facility, who's monitoring the behavior that's going on at Shanda Park on a Saturday? That's, are they using it to make money and so forth, so they're getting a free space? So it's really kind of a discussion that you as the Conservation Committee should discuss what your use of Shanda Park is for, is it a fundraiser, is it a good cause? That would be discussions, who, is there going to be alcohol there? Who's going to be liable for that? Who's monitoring that? When we rent out the ball fields, if alcohol shows up, the police come and, but we as the rec department might not be at Shanda Park, and it's managed under the Conservation Committee, so we really don't have any say. We can certainly possibly offer the services of doing the calendar and saying it doesn't look like it's being utilized, but who goes there and what they're doing isn't really up to us, it's up to you. And we wouldn't know whether you're okay with that or not.
Right, so that was kind of what we discussed was, for some reason I was under the impression that you guys had like an online calendar.
We'll be online soon.
Okay.
We're in the process, none of our programming is online.
And that there was the thought of a way to make a reservation online.
We can take credit cards over the phone they can call and say, I'd like to book the gazebo and so forth. The rec department's not there yet, but it will probably be there, I would say, in the next 3 or 4 months. We
Yeah.
just are in the process of getting a new reservation system, which would be online.
Right, so I think what we discussed was that maybe, like, there was a way that through the same page and the same process, but maybe the request doesn't necessarily go to the rec department, like you said, that
Mhm.
you guys aren't the ones that will okay it. And currently, it's the Conservation Commission that would have to okay it.
Yeah, you'd have to get your own
Right.
online. And then again, what I did is I created, I pulled a bunch of towns and cities and Exeter for you of reservation facilities like parks, and some of them are very simple and some of them are very detailed. Like, are you renting this out for a festival or somebody putting tents? And you mentioned something like that. So there's a lot that goes into deciding, some of these are cities, but I mean, there's certainly questions you might want to ask before you allow someone to just use the park. And like I said, who's policing the event? That would be a concern that I would have for you.
Rec Center, don't you guys keep a online list of like just the goings on as far as
Mhm.
that kind of thing? The
Yeah,
events
those are
going
all
on?
town
Like town events?
events. Yes, that's through our
that
Rec
kind of thing.
Connect page. So we have an ongoing calendar of things that are going on
Mhm.
constantly. The information's only as good as it's provided to
Sure.
us. I mean, we do a lot of searching and people will send us stuff and we immediately put it on. And it's a perpetual calendar, so you can constantly look at it and even look at last year to see, what this is going on.
Mhm.
And if there's, the Halloween haunts posted or anything.
Right.
But as far as private parties,
Right,
we're not
no.
posting
No,
things like that.
I wasn't suggesting that we would post like Bob's birthday party
Yeah.
Saturday. I would just say like Shanda Park reserved.
Mhm.
That's all it would say, except Saturday 20.
And my question is how would you prevent people from just walking?
Well, it's this thing we've done it
Just
this
good
way for
faith.
years, and it was good faith, and no one, yeah, exactly, and no one has, the permit, we sign it and say you can use it, bring a copy of this to the police department, and the police department gets a copy, and they have a copy. We ask them to put up, if they would like to put up a sign or something on
So
the.
you have reserved it in the past?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
All the time, yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying, 3 to 5 times a year, someone comes to us.
Oh,
with
okay.
They fill out the form.
See, that's
But-
kind of how the gazebo is. I mean, we kind of go with the honor system, but we have been called where someone was sitting there and they wouldn't move.
Yeah, yeah.
We had to go.
Have we ever had that? I don't
Well, no one can really call us on a Saturday, I don't.
know. But I mean, like, call the
But yeah,
police
I
and
don't
have an
know.
issue.
So, well, if you're not
Not that I
charging
know.
them anything, then.
No, we don't charge anything, and we don't offer anything, and we just, like, when people come to us and say, we want to do this, we say, okay, take everything out of the park that you bring in, bring your own trash, take your own trash out, don't fill the garbage, don't feed the ducks, things like that,
Have we addressed alcohol? I feel like I don't remember reading anything about that. But I assume you can't drink in public anyways, so
Right,
I don't think so.
I don't think you can.
No, like when we do the Arts in the Park, I'm there monitoring that.
Right.
It's a non-alcoholic event, and I'm there, kind of sitting there, making sure nobody is drinking.
I think at Old Home Days, they used to serve beer down there.
Well, you need to
I think
get the
there's a
permit.
whole nother process you gotta go through to
Yeah.
get a,
But if like Bob's birthday party's down there and they bring some wine, I guess it's on
It's on the
them.
PD to be patrolling the waterfront. and see people with open containers as any other day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, once we're online, that's something we can certainly talk about. We're not at that point yet ourselves. People come in and they reserve in person.
Okay. Yeah, because what was happening is people would go into the town, into the, the town clerk's office, and they'd say, where do we go? And then they'd send them to the town administrator, and they would say, hey, here's a form, but you really can't give it to us because we can't let you use it.
Mhm.
So we'll give this on to the commission.
Mhm.
But it might be in use that day, and then we don't meet for a whole month.
Yeah,
So we don't even know that someone wants to use it maybe for 2 weeks after they've submitted something, because I didn't check the mailbox in the town administrator's office for 2 weeks, and then the date
I mean,
passes.
like I said, it wouldn't be that difficult for the rec department to offer that service.
Or if we could just piggyback on top of what you guys are doing, really,
Yeah.
basically, is kind of.
You know.
That was the hope,
That
but
was
it's
the
not there now.
That was the hope,
Right.
yeah, that was kind of the hope.
Mhm.
Or in the setup process, if you think it'll be there in 3 to 5 months, it'll be by the time that we actually, because.
We just got approval from the town administrator on the platform and the software that we're going to be using.
Yeah.
Trust me, I would like to get this on board sooner than later. But it's a learning curve and a training, and we're basically changing our whole registration system. So it's a database that has to come in and come out, and, we're just putting together the how it works as far as people going online and being able to reserve field space and things like that. That could be touchy. You get baseball coaches sometimes, and there's sometimes we have a rule where they can't, they can only put in for one practice field a week, because some of them kind of come in and try to do a bunch of them in a row, and then it doesn't leave any field space for somebody else. So there might be some reasons why we wouldn't do it that way. They need to come in and do it. We haven't had that discussion yet.
Yeah, the way I can envision it is that the email, that somebody would fill out an online application, and it would go to, say, like, the commission and
Mhm.
maybe the town administrator, so that they were aware. And then we still wouldn't, at the current time, we still wouldn't be able to vote on it to the next month, but at least we could respond. We would probably end up responding to the person much quicker.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't available, they might be able to see it on a calendar, was kind of our thought.
Well, you could put the stipulations on your
That-
website, as far as if you want to rent it, you realize it's an over a month turnaround. I mean, that's not the way it is for the rec. I mean, if someone wants to rent it that Saturday, we can turn it around and make sure. And even if we always say you can rent it, or you can just take your chance that nobody's going to be there. We don't say they have to, but a lot of people want to have the gazebo and those picnic tables for a birthday party.
Right.
It's not used as much for, like, Shanda, people are kind of coming through and sitting at the picnic table more openly than the gazebo is done.
Right.
Did you want the packet of stuff to look at, or did you?
Yeah, I would like to.
I mean, as I said, I just took our reservation form and the questions that we ask,
Right.
and then I grabbed a bunch from a bunch of different towns that you could just kind of peruse through.
Yeah, ours currently does not
Thanks for doing
say.
that.
Yeah,
say-
not a problem. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a little bit information overload, but there was
I
certainly.
think it's good.
Thank you very much.
And they're in order, but I didn't staple them individually, but it just might make you think of some things that maybe, like I said, if it's been not an issue for you before, it just might make you think about if the request comes later on, I want to do a festival, or I want to do this, what things I mean, that's a lot to, insurance, liability, all those kind of
Right.
things.
Most of the festival stuff has been town, or the road race, I guess, would be the biggest things that happen. And
Yeah.
usually when the town, like Old Home Days, Old Home Days folks would come here, and we'd talk about what they planned on using in the park and setting up
Mhm.
down there, and kind of give our 2 cents on what's put there.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
And whatnot. But, yeah, thank you very much for putting that together.
I can certainly let you know when we're online.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
yeah, any way we can help you, or
Streamline the process, I
help
totally
be
get it.
involved, or or if we can talk about it in January perhaps, or sometime if we go to the meeting, or.
I think our biggest problem is just that the general public doesn't know that it needs to be reserved. Like we had that one woman, and she did want to reserve it on the Halloween haunt day, and then the turnaround was so slow, I guess, or just the whole process was so slow that she didn't, there was no way of knowing in advance. So even if there's just a little sentence that it has to be voted on, we vote the second Thursday
Which is why I
of the
tried to
month.
give you at least a
Right.
year in
So
advance.
just be forewarned, if you're here on, the second Friday, then
Yeah, I think we need to add, we should add something to our webpage that explains a
Right.
little bit about it. And then the thought was, if you guys get something set up at rec, that we would have just a link on our page that would bring you to the rec
Yeah, we could
department
definitely do that.
process. And because that's where, if you're keeping a calendar, it makes sense, instead of having like 3 different town calendars.
Right.
like,
I'm
especially
all
for
about condensing.
for use of town facilities, it
Yeah.
might as well be, like you said, condensed. Excellent. Well,
I had one other thing I was just going to share with you. I did in the rec brochure include conservation information, because there's a portion of it's a community guide, and we do get a lot of questions down at the community center on passive recreation and trails and things. So I used the master plan that I can't remember, Jim handed me the book, as best as I could, kind of listing what facilities we're at, and so I have this for you. This is a photocopy of a photocopy, so it's not the best, but I did include a picture from the park so people could see that conservation is
Thank you.
there, and, it is, when people think conservation, they also think walking trails and things like that, which is a form of recreation and falls under. So it's a little hard to read because you're in the white, but we took the information from that book, and we'll also have a link on our page, on our webpage, that we can kind of link back and forth with more of a description of the trails, because that's what we get most. And I couldn't really fit the description of what goes on at each of these parks, but I did take it from the blurb in that book, which I was going to bring with me, but I think Jim took it back, and so I don't have it. But I'd be happy to email it to you, Jeff, and you can just look at it. It's that way people can look and say, oh, that's that trail. Oh, this trail has this. Because when you see the amount of acres, there might not be that, 160 acres of trails and things like that.
yeah, the trails there are limited to a smaller portion of
Yeah.
it, as you know.
So whereas
Yeah.
the paragraph will give that more of a list. There was some information that I wasn't sure about, but we did the best we could. It's better than what we never had it in here before. Or at least we haven't put it in there in a long time. But I just felt it was important not to only list the town fields and facilities, but also what we had, and pulling from what I saw on the website as well. And we'll put the link. There's one of your parks, I believe or one of your areas, I think it's Lubberland. There's actually a whole GPS link through something else that will link, so people, if they're on our website, they'll be able to see pictures and things like that. I think through a GES system, or
That one might be TNC.
it could be. I can't remember which one it was.
Might be their property, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, Lubberland.
It goes through New Hampshire, open lands. It's a beautiful website, and it connects through Newmarket. I can't remember how I found it, but I'm like, I need to remember the link so we can link it, so people can see pictures and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that will be in there, so you're not surprised.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. It's good to get people involved and see that there are things out there.
Yeah. Someone mentioned another park that I wasn't sure was conservation, a Sweet Trail.
Yeah, that's also mostly on Nature Conservancy property.
Okay, yeah. So if you get any more information, or that this is,
But
I
that's-
can always
that's-
update it.
It's a great recreational activity or place to recreate that starts in Newmarket and goes through Durham, though. I mean, it's worth it should be listed. It's not necessarily like an.
I didn't even know about it until somebody just mentioned it to me two days ago. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known about it. So we're even not getting some information, so.
Yeah. like-
Any information you could pass on.
Yeah, Heron Point, oh, yeah.
This is all done, or is that what you're saying?
It's already at the printer at that
Okay, yeah, yeah,
point.
okay.
And it really, again, is a matter of someone just knowing that it's there.
Right.
I think the website will be more descriptive than what these X's and say, because it's kind of hard to read, but it was all I had the space for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can certainly, we're pushing the website for people to go, and we can offer more information.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's good.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you included
Yeah, yeah.
included these areas.
Have we ever
Definitely.
thought about doing a more comprehensive map that's available to people online?
We have last or
We had
two
that brochure, that
two-
green.
2 or 3 years ago, they did the who worked on that. Stephanie worked on updating our parcel map anyway, and I think that's
Yeah.
online, right?
Well, do you have a, it's on the, I was trying to
Town
find
website.
it, but I can't get in
Yeah,
that.
there's a site, it doesn't,
It just shows
it's not
where it
super
is.
It shows
helpful
the big
for
green area, but it
seeing
doesn't
things
really.
very well. I mean, I was just kind of going out to some other town sites to see
Yeah.
what there is, and they're not that much better either, but I thought that could be something we could look at, because I think people don't really know what,
Right.
they can see a description, but they don't know, there's this trail, and it's, here's the basic shape of it, and if I go there, I'll know I'll be walking in a big loop, or,
Yes.
I'll be walking through a field or something like that. So I think that would be really helpful to getting people.
Or
to-
handicap accessible was a question, we
Yep,
weren't really
terrain,
sure,
things like that,
terrain.
yeah.
And I know we brought it up, the dog, where do you walk your dog? We get that a lot. And just having something, like I said, the paragraph we're gonna put, in addition to that, is just gonna be a little bit more, more informational. So I'll send it to you, and if you have more, and then you wanna add a picture,
Right.
the website, we can
Yeah.
double link. It could be on the town under conservation, it could be on the rec. It depends on who's looking, as long as the information's out there.
You're right. I agree that there have been, I've heard from several people lately, from different conservation groups and citizens that would like to see more of our information out there and accessible. Is there a trail? People don't know that there are trails on a lot of the
Yeah,
lands.
trying to
and
explain them how to
where
get
they
to
are.
Heron Point
Right.
is
Oh, yeah.
just.
And where they
Over
are.
the phone. Yeah, I can't get there from here.
What's our website?
Well, the town handles the website, and
Yeah.
is it Dan? I can't remember. His name
Doug-
escapes me. Doug.
Is
Doug.
our IT. I don't know who actually inputs the information. The
Okay.
Recreation Department, we man our own
Okay.
website, and we are linked from the town. So you could easily, we could link people back if they're looking for passive recreation on one of our pages, then we can link them back to your information or provide the information as well, just because I think it's important that, conservation and recreation go hand in hand.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So how do we go about,
If we talk to, if we have ideas or things we want to change, I believe we can take them to Steve Fournier, and Steve will see
Okay.
that they're put on the website
Okay.
for us.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and if we have,
We have, like,
a
photos?
photos or a PDF, we make
Yeah,
it
if you
a
guys do
map
it, then
and
we'll
we-
just link. We won't have to do it. That's a
Right.
way to do it.
Right. Excellent. I know personally, I like the idea of having kayaks at Shannon Park.
No, I
and
love it.
I
Love
would
it.
be interested in
I
that.
think there'd be a lot of interest in that.
Yeah, a lot of people.
And/or sliding rock.
Yeah, well, I thought either or would be a potential. We do have 20 and one tandem that are just, and people have come and rented them, and then again, the difficulty of it is that we use it for summer camp, we take the kids out on it all the time, but again, the difficulty is getting them out to the water and bringing them back is just such a huge
Yep.
logistics issue that having the rack right there, and we can even store them back in the winter if that can't happen, and then just being able to only have a key, I think we definitely would get more use out of them. And
When you guys bring the kids, do you take them down Great Bay or up?
no, we usually have brought them through Piscas, Sliding Rock.
Uh-huh.
And we do end up having to hire a kayak instructor or certified kayak instructor.
One thing with Shanda is sort of, you're almost forced to head out Great Bay.
Yeah.
Unless you wanna hump it up over
The
the
2K
dam.
kayak would definitely be tidal, when to do it. It would have to revolve around that.
Right.
And that's why I did. And I would want to speak to someone. I'm not a kayak professional. I just came up with the idea. I'd really want to speak to somebody who'd say, yeah, it's not possible at a Great Bay, let's do it over here. But I do think that the opportunity is there.
Hmm.
So for your next version, some additions to the X's under
perfect.
conservation.
Thank you. At that point, I was just, oh, wow, see, that information was not available in the maps.
I believe that.
I can update.
I'm providing it now.
I can update the one on the web.
What? No.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's not even listed there. I'm just trying to address what's already listed.
Well, it's more than what was, so this is
Oh,
good.
yeah.
This is a start.
Absolutely.
Get additions
And
for next
I
week.
can always update it on the web if people are asking for it or researching it. A lot of times with the brochure, they're just kind of going right through, but then
Yeah,
they
sure.
go to the website.
Right.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and when you send that to me I'll circulate whatever Amy sends out to
Yeah.
everyone for review or additions, that if anyone
Yeah.
has anything they would like to add.
Sounds good.
okay?
Thank you very much
Any
for
more
coming.
questions? We're good? So
Thank you.
I'll give you an update. Maybe I'll see one of you at January 25th.
Yeah, I'd like to go.
That's right.
That'd
Yeah,
be awesome.
I might be there as well.
I'm hoping to go.
All right.
I'm excited about
That's
the
what I like to
splash pad,
hear.
too.
Yes.
That splash pad, oh my gosh. That's gonna occupy my kids.
We're working on that too.
Sounds awesome.
Thanks, Amy.
Excellent, thanks
Thank
again.
you so much.
Have a good night. Okay, we'll move back to the regular agenda now, I guess, unless anyone has any more discussion on the topic. Approval of minutes from November 12th, 2015. I did have one comment to Sue that I had her make a change in the talk about the Piscasset Loisel monitoring. I did mention that a coworker had told me that someone was interested in using the trails, and so that was the change I had. So we took out one sentence and then added the language. A coworker of Jeff's reported that a citizen who may attend the next meeting is interested in an expanded trail network on the property. So that was my change to the minutes. Thank you, Sue.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 12th, 2015.
Second?
More discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Thank you, Sue. Do we have to approve the non-public minutes as well? Yes.
Yep.
So, Sue also circulated the non-public minutes from November 12th, 2015, and I will make a motion to approve those minutes as submitted by Sue.
I'll second that motion.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Thank you, Sue. Next would be the treasurer's report.
I have the report for both October and November, and nothing has happened except for interest. And I've deposited a $62.50 check for a rain barrel the other day, but I don't see it. It's December, so. Anything to say about that?
One thing I will mention is that I was at Town Hall today and I did inquire about current use assessments out at the golf course development.
Oh, yeah,
And I
current
do
use.
know that bills have been submitted.
Okay.
Bills have not been paid yet, but they have been submitted to the developer.
Okay.
But nothing yet for Bald Hill.
Okay. I will keep an eye out.
What are we building the golf course?
Oh, we're not. The town is for the current use change tax. So they had land, quite a bit of the land out near the swamp outside of the developed golf course.
Right.
In current use. And so when they took it out and put in road and houses, that is when they get taxed
I see.
on that, or charged a penalty on that removal of current use.
Okay.
I guess it's well, I won't go into why they do it. I don't think it's worth it at the time.
Looks good.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
Committee, subcommittee reports? Anything from town council, Amy?
We, just went through the budget process, so it's been, our meetings have been short the last couple of meetings, so, yeah. Not at this point. Don't have too much report to you guys.
Thank you, Amy.
Sure.
Anything from anyone else? Okay, on to the chairman's report. I was going to speak about the gravel pit or ask Ezra, our planning board representative, for potential description of what happened at the planning board meeting regarding the pit on Tuesday night, because I did not watch, and he's not here this evening. So I know that we did not have anyone speak up in opposition to the renewal, though we did not provide a letter of support. Still thank you to Wayne and Janice Rosa for attending our prior meeting and filling us in. I do know that no commission member was able to make the site walk, which was kind of a last-minute scheduled thing on a kind of a rainy day. So that's all I really have on that, unless anyone has anything else.
So will we get any kind of report from Ezra at any point?
I think he would tell us if they gave us approved the renewal application. We can find out. I could find out anyway. I can just send Diane an email asking, or yeah, I can send Diane an email. Be the simplest way instead of I need to know before the next month. One other thing that I just wanted to mention quick, just something to think about, is I might be interested, if folks are, in asking the kind of the planning department what we hold for prime wetlands in the town, as what prime wetlands are defined by when people develop near wetlands and prime wetlands. What should be shown on plans, how they should be represented on plans, because I know that there have been 2 developments in town recently that in one case they used the prime wetland maps as they were mapped when the maps were developed. They used those lines as shown on those maps. And in the other development they used them as mapped on the ground. And they can lead to 2 very different answers. The mapping scale for the prime wetland maps is quite a large scale, and when you put it down to 40 scale, there's a lot of uncertainty in the line. And I would just like clarification on what the town sees as the prime wetland line, and what needs to be used during the development process. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that, or...
I think that's good consistency.
Yeah.
Especially since they vary so differently.
Yeah, I would just like to see consistency in
Who
the process.
determines that title, prime wetland?
The town established a prime wetlands ordinance. I don't know. I don't remember when it was. Is it 2005 maybe? I don't know if you know, Drew.
I don't know offhand.
When it was exactly, but so it just gives another layer of protection to certain wetlands in town. So there was a big prime wetland study done by West Environmental around town, and they designated specific wetlands prime, they did a big report, and that was submitted to the state, and they were approved as prime wetlands. And so they have a larger setback for development. Instead of the 25 and 50 foot, I believe it's 100 for structures and 125 for septic or something like that. So they have a larger layer of protection, considered to be the more valuable wetlands in town, for a list of reasons. There's a report downstairs if you ever want to review it. It has a detailed description of each wetland that was designated prime and the reasons why.
And so you're saying the mapping of those could be affected if I'm a developer and I'm using a map, I may or may not be at the right boundary line? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, like they're depicted on the, like, the perimeter of each wetland was not visited and specifically marked and mapped during the prime wetlands mapping. A lot of it was done through aerial photos and then going to specific spots on each wetland to say, yeah, confirming what you're seeing. And I think they did some GPS locations here and there. I wasn't involved in the process, not 100% familiar, but that's my loose understanding from speaking to people that have developed these maps before. And so when you go to develop a piece of property, you're typically required by the town to map wetlands locally and have your plan stamped by a scientist and so that's, yeah, there obviously can be inconsistencies there, where one's done on the ground at the specific location, and the other, when the prime wetlands maps were developed, the person may never have visited that specific spot. So they would vary. If they're the same, it's by coincidence, more or less. So I personally would just like clarification as to which one is the proper one to show, which one should we be trying to regulate and protect by, because we did it to protect these wetlands, and it could work for or against someone doing development. I was just curious, would like to know what our standard is.
Yep. What's our current process?
Yeah. So I might, I don't know if anyone has objection, I might just send a note to planning and kind of just see what they're...
Sounds appropriate.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
I didn't know if it perhaps is a legal definition. I've looked through the ordinances and stuff, but I don't know. I looked at the state ordinance and our ordinance, but there's apparently question if two people do it. The other thing I'd like to say, just Chairman's report, is that we did receive a new member application for an alternate, and they will be heard at the meeting, I think, December 12th for their application. And that's it. That's all I have. So then just on to old and new business, and we've already talked to Amy about Shanda Park. The next thing that I think I was going to move the non-public session to the end to simplify things, so I don't have to break it up in the middle. So I was going to move on to the Wigan Farm Tuttle Swamp Management Plan addendum. In a meeting that we had, Patrick and Drew and myself met with Ellen Snyder to discuss her thoughts on the process and what we need to do. And she provided us with a list of things that she would like to see updated. And if I don't know if I should go through the whole thing. I brought a few copies of Ellen's suggestions. I brought 3 copies of Ellen's suggestions. So it seemed to me that one of the biggest things was that we would update our management plan, as it's been over 10 years, as she suggested at our last meeting. And we got a little bit more into specifics when we met with her. And I think that, I personally feel that's a very good idea to update the management plan and potentially think about doing the return to field that we discussed last time, and planting the shrub field habitat across the stone wall and management of those invasives. But like we discussed, to do that, we would have to update our management plan. And
how extensive of a process would that be?
so one thing she thought about doing, she mentioned after our meeting, is not including the distant property on 152, the backside of the swamp, in the updated management plan, or the addendum to the management plan, as she put it. And if we wanted to manage that area at some point, it wouldn't take a lot. This is what she expressed, that it wouldn't take a lot to write a management plan for that area. So it wouldn't be like, it would take a year and a half to write that management plan and then then get moving on a project. It could be a much quicker process, and if we don't want to get into it now to keep costs down right now, she suggests that we just don't add it quite yet if we don't want to. Which I kind of agree
Yeah.
with what we do, that it would, it might simplify our, to me, it sounded like a relatively intensive project to do that restoration of that other area, and add on another, thinking about a new management plan for a whole nother area might be a little much at the moment. So she had a few ideas for, I don't know, do you guys think I should go through all these now? Briefly, so folks at home know what we're talking about. Basically, she gave us some plan update components, and one.
Just hit the letters, not the bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one might be to update our property description, be a little better than it currently is, because it was written before it was conserved, and now we've done so many things with it, so we just give it a general update. The next item would be to kind of review our stewardship and management goals, and kind of update those. And then kind of a better description of the existing conditions out there, kind of what we've done for habitat management and stuff like that, but what is there. A better definition of our stewardship and monitoring process and what we've done in the past and how we plan on doing it in the future, basically, and kind of protocol. And then updating our management recommendations, which would include that restoration and planting of shrubs of that old field area. Maybe update some of our maps, which could definitely use some updating. And then also, perhaps, there's a large section of appendices, and this is the plan, and only like 25 pages are the actual plan.
Oh,
the
wow.
rest are appendices. So I think she feels a lot of this stuff may be out of date, as it's 10 years old at this point. So there's been a lot of science since 2005. So basically that's it. And then she just goes on to describe what our involvement and expectations would be, which would be, a couple meetings and a final plan generated. And a few things that they would expect from us should we move forward, a few items that would be needed to help along in the process of developing the plan. And so,
Is that something we'd have to put out to bid?
well, once again, it would, if it's under $2,500,
Oh,
was
okay.
what Steve Fournier, town administrator, informed me, that we do not need to go out to bid for under
Okay.
$2,500. So,
Okay.
So do we know what the cost would be? Did she give us a figure? I don't recall her giving us a figure when we met with her.
I don't want to hold her to anything. She
Yeah.
didn't give us a firm figure.
I don't think there is a specific.
So we don't
one.
know if it meets that threshold or not.
We do not.
That's correct.
I mean, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I mean, could we always make Ellen represents us in at the Tuttle Swamp, the watershed management meetings once a year, and she's very familiar with the property, and I believe she was involved was she involved in some way with the original management, or procuring the property?
Yeah, acquiring the property.
Acquiring the property, yeah. So, and she works for, her firm is Ibis Wildlife, I believe, if that's true. And she writes plans like this, and, I would be in favor of using her services to complete it. I don't know what other people feel, or.
She's a natural choice, I think. She's so familiar with it. She's
Yeah.
done it before.
She's familiar with it, and she's done good work. I mean, she's done other plans like this for other groups, and I know she's considered an expert in this field, so.
Yeah, I think I would say, why don't we ask Ellen what she thinks it would cost to update it? If it comes in above the whatever the threshold is, 2,500, then we put it out for bid. And if not, then we move forward.
Would it be premature to, like can you do a contingent motion, like a motion to expend the funds if her estimate or proposal comes out to under $2,500, we can proceed, and if not, we will send out an RFP for, just so, otherwise, she might get us a proposal next week, and then we would vote next month.
Delayed.
Which I don't know, I don't mind delaying it, I just didn't know for expediency if we could do that. I know in the past we've said, we've done motions to expend not to exceed a certain amount, or.
Well, it seems like the only rush would be is if we wanted to start to reclaim that habitat. What time, how quickly do we want to think about doing that, and what time of the year is best to do that? If we can say like that she can start on the plan, and then she can write the plan in, by the end of January, and we can have a plan to get vehicles out there for March, April. I don't know if that's the time frame that is realistic, or if they want to do that type of work in the fall, and it's going to take her 3 months to update the plan, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't see any harm in getting started, or if she's the one that's gonna do it, and she seems to be the most qualified, go forward with the paperwork. Get it going.
Does that seem like a?
Yeah, I guess the contingent motion makes me a little nervous.
Okay. Well, let's just wait then. I haven't done it before. I wasn't sure if it was proper.
So-
I don't mind waiting either.
Yeah.
So I can send just send a request to Ellen for a proposal, for a formal proposal to complete the work. Seems like
Yep.
just to keep everything on
Yeah.
the open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Let's do that. No, I don't think so.
You can make it.
No expenditure.
Yeah, there's no expenditure. And there's no approval of anything as of yet, right?
Right.
Though we did decide to go without an RFP, but.
Unless it's over $2,500.
Yeah, if it's over
Right.
2,500, then we do the RFP. So that's what we have to do. It's fine.
And if anyone would like this information, they can have it, and otherwise I'll put it back in the cabinet. It's basically the appendices. I did circulate the actual management plan and a couple of the maps, I think. If I did or didn't send the maps out. Just let me know after the meeting. The next two things, I guess, I don't know if we're talking about at the same time, but there was the Piscasset Loisel kiosk and the Shanda Park kiosk both sustained some damage. They fell over, and I personally have not been able to make it out to the pit to view them and see what kind of condition they are actually in.
Where are they again?
I believe they are out at the pit by the pet crematorium.
Yeah.
Back
Oh,
behind
The
there,
town
the old
town
restaurant.
sand pit.
Yep.
Yeah. Has anyone seen them? Any chance?
I just saw, when I originally took that picture of the one down at the Cassock area, and I think it could be salvageable as far as the the roof part of the structure and where the map is displayed. It's just the two legs that were holding it into the ground would have to be replaced, and I just don't know. If you put something out to bid like that, is it going to be, the labor and cost of going through all that work going to be equal to just getting it replaced? I have no idea about that. Or is it something we could do just voluntarily as a group? Get some people with some saws and stuff and get some legs and see if we can put on new legs and plant it. That's the thing. I don't know. Do you know if there was cement down there originally when that was?
Probably not if it broke off like that.
Yeah.
What it looked like as the wood just rotted completely.
Yeah, I, personally, having done some different projects like this,
Yeah.
wood rots in the ground.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Unless you put like even pressure treated wood.
Yeah, if we're gonna replace these kiosks, I would vote that we put in a concrete footer with a bolt in it, and then have some sort of, mechanism that we can use to attach the post to,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can reuse as much as possible of what we already have. Just
Yeah.
cut off whatever's rotted, and re-adhere it.
That was a good plan.
You could use lolly columns, like concrete-filled tubes, they make for holding up buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Use those. And then make a bracket and make your roof on that. Maybe.
but that's a whole new structure. What I'm proposing is take what's already there,
I'm saying, no, just,
make a flat bottom, and then use basically a post base
Mm-hmm.
to hold it up.
yeah, but, those, what they are is steel posts filled with concrete,
Yes.
lolly columns. That's what I'm saying. Use that instead of wood for posts, and then and use the existing roof, if the roof is salvageable, and just use
But how
those
are we gonna
posts.
attach the map to a steel column that's filled with concrete?
You can build some sort of there's a bracket, I'm sure they make them, or we could have it welded up or something, just build a bracket for, to hold the lolly column will hold up the roof by way of the bracket. Yeah, there's gotta be a way of doing it. I mean,
I'm
that's an
sure there is.
alternative.
Yep.
That's one way of making sure it won't rot, that's for sure.
I haven't looked to see how they're assembled personally. I thought that the one
I
at,
think it's all wood.
I looked at, I looked at the one at Piscastic Loisel when I did the monitoring, because it was a little bit loose then, and I shook it a little bit, and I was like, oh, this thing is kind of loose. It looks like we should just stick wood next to it, and it would be firm up, because the holes were bigger than the posts that it was in, so it was loose to begin with. And it didn't look like it was about to break when I did that at all, it was,
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody helped it a little bit.
Well, it was.
I don't know, but I guess what I'm saying is that
Wind, yeah.
there were wooden pegs, I think, that held the bottom course to the verticals.
Picture of it.
So I think they were like,
Can show that
I think
to
it's
Bob
kinda
if
like
he hasn't seen it.
if you take away the verticals to fix it, then you're gonna take, the bottom's gonna,
You have nothing.
Yeah, because I think it's like a Morrison tenon with a peg through it, is what it looks like.
There's a picture that
It's
I
just a
took of
bolt
it.
with a peg.
Yeah,
So you can see what it looked like.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's like I think what you're saying, Drew, might be, if it's still in okay shape and when they moved it to the pit, it didn't get further damaged, and it's still usable.
Rough shape.
Then I think what you're saying might be the simplest route. You just,
Yeah.
it's like
Reuse
it's
what's
like,
there.
Yeah, putting a support on a hip roof on your house or whatever, outside roof on your house. Like they make them, they make a bracket that the
I
post
think
fits right
Drew's already
into.
seen it. I showed
Yeah.
these guys
Thank
last
you.
time I saw them, but. Yeah, and can Public Works do something like that for us, or?
They can do some work. I mean, it doesn't. We can ask and see what their availability is. I
Pick their brain about it.
I know
See
that
what
in
they
the
come up with.
fall they have more time than the spring, so
Yeah.
that's what I've been
At
told.
the very least, we'll need their assistance with a backhoe, so put chains around us, we can lift the thing up and set it.
Yeah, however, I don't know how they got it to they might have like
They might have
just,
built it in
they might have
place.
just
Yeah.
hucked it into the back of a truck and drove it out and kicked it off the back into the,
Oh.
you know what I mean?
Not
Like,
likely.
Not likely, but, I mean, that's not, I'm just saying, we don't know what condition they're in.
Right, that roof, yeah.
All right, I'll go to the town hall, to the town sand pit, and check out the kiosks, find out their condition.
Thank you, Drew.
Yep.
And,
When are you gonna go? 'Cause-
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go out there too.
Okay.
That's all.
You could, yeah, if you want to email us and let us know, we'll see if we can.
It'll be a last minute thing.
All right, okay.
Drive
I can
by.
do
All
that,
right.
but it will not be very helpful,
Okay, all right, that's fine.
from a planning point of view.
Got it.
and as far as if Public Works will fix it, typically they expend the funds and then they ask us for reimbursement if they want it, or they just submit it.
Yeah, because they've got the postal digger probably,
Um,
big quick work.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have Quikrete and.
Yeah, they can dig a hole with their backhoe and we'll fill it with concrete and, or they can do it.
And from speaking with Rick, he felt that they were not really salvageable.
No.
Maybe
Just
at least the
FYI.
map and the plexiglass.
I asked him about the maps, especially the one from Shanda Park, and he's like, you might be able to get it. He said that thing, it did fall in the creek, so.
Oh.
The wind blew it over.
Those were his thoughts.
Yeah, snap the wood right off.
Okay. The next thing is easement monitoring reports. I did circulate the Piscassic-Loisel report just last night. I brought copies if people want to see them. I did not, like I mentioned last time, I didn't find anything. I'm just looking for folks to take a quick review before I send it off.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you mine. I haven't even, sorry.
And I haven't.
I know it's due at the end of the year.
I haven't submitted these in the past, Drew, so just maybe after the meeting or
Yeah, we can
shoot me
talk.
an email sometime.
Yeah.
We can just go over it really quick, but if you didn't get a PDF copy, but if folks want these or not, but
So I read it on email.
there you go. There's a map. Just kind of updated the map from last year. Yeah, so if those could be submitted to me, did Silverman Schneer
Silver Schneer was done.
is done, and did you submit the report? I did.
I know, I think I circulated it.
Yeah, that's what I mean, you circulated the report.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So,
And I don't think that one needs to be submitted to anyone.
okay, we just have to.
Whereas the Smith Sisters Audubon, that one needs to go to DES and LCHIP, I think.
Okay.
Wigan Farm should have already been sent to the appropriate folks, and I think the Piscassic-Loisel needs to go to both DES and LCHIP also, I think. It's on that easement monitoring
Yeah.
list.
We
And-
still have to do the farm, right?
Right, so then the last one is the New Roots Farm, and they've been in touch to say essentially we can do it anytime. And with that in mind, I would propose this weekend, because time is running short.
I am not available Saturday.
So do people have a preference on Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday morning I can do.
I will not feel bad if I
Sunday I
do
can
not
do
get to
it.
go.
Oh, he's on.
Going, thanks.
For use in your monitoring, I brought a couple maps, right?
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
If you're interested, sure. Yeah.
I could probably do it Sunday, but not Saturday. But, so,
I think I would prefer Saturday over Sunday.
it sounds like you've got a couple people at least.
Yeah, I can do Saturday.
So let's say Saturday. What time? I would prefer morning.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can't do anything after 12,
Okay.
like 9:30. Is that too late?
Yeah, can you go earlier?
Yeah, what time?
How early can you go? How about 8?
8?
Yeah. You can say no. No's an acceptable answer. How about 9?
9, okay, 9. 9.
Right after you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Should have gone the other way on it. What about 7?
How about 4 a.m.? I'm awake then.
If it were light out, I'd say sure, let's do it.
Kind of hard to do in the dark.
I got a headlamp.
I do too.
Let's go for it.
I got a couple. So let's meet there at 9.
Saturday, 9 o'clock. Yep, sure.
Does that work?
Okay.
New Roots
I'm
Farm?
gonna work, so I can't.
Yeah,
Okay,
My wife
okay.
has to work, so I can't make it.
Yeah, no
Can
problem.
do that.
The last thing I have on easement monitoring reports is we received the Southeast Land Trust's monitoring for the Hilton easement. And with it came, that we contract them each year to perform that for us. With that
Okay.
came an invoice, which I'll
Okay.
pass on.
All right, I'll take care of it.
And I do believe, do we need we do need a motion to,
Yep.
Actually, I can take that back and make a motion. if you
Okay.
like.
Oh yeah, do you have to make a check request? Or you at least have to sign that, I think.
Yeah, I at least have to sign it. And Steve usually signs them as well. So, for the monitoring of the Hilton easement, I'd like to make a motion that we expend the funds of $150.17 payable to the Southeast Land Trust of New Hampshire.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye. One,
Opposed?
oh,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Opposed? Abstentions? Nothing? I will just point out that it was completed by Deborah Gord, and she did not come up with anything out of the ordinary at all. She said it looks good out there. And I would like to read the report.
The only thing I was going to add to that is, historically, we have asked that come out of the contracted services portion of the conservation budget.
Okay.
So that budget number is 01413,702.
Can you tell me that again?
I can circle it on your
All right.
thing if you want.
Great, thank you.
So that just makes it easier. But that's where that comes out of.
Okay.
Is there anything else anyone has on easement monitoring? No. I just have one thing that I did not have on the agenda. We did speak about trying to get someone from the Nature Conservancy, Pete Steckler to be specific, to come and speak to us about the progress of the Leverland Creek culvert replacement. Pete has agreed to come to our next meeting. And so I'd be looking for, he's got some sort of presentation he's going to bring to us, so he's going to have a little show, basically. And he would like to know if we have any specific concerns or questions. And if anyone does, they can send them to me, and I'll send them a list of questions. I'm going to try to give them a couple of weeks advance, and not send them to them on Wednesday night before our meeting. Yeah. So that's it on that. So maybe I'll send out an email saying
Those
any,
guys are so on
any
top of it, I
questions.
feel like. That
They're-
whole
they're-
team.
The team, yeah, they have a
Yeah,
good
they've
team put
covered any
together for
possible
sure.
question and I can-
Definitely, they sure do. And that's all I have about that.
Sounds good.
So now,
Before we go into non-public, I just want to say a quick thank you to Link Together and Ree for the snowman.
Yes,
So-
thank
Yes,
you.
yes, thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for reminding me, Amy.
Nicely decorated.
Yeah,
town.
it's festive.
That's
Happy
right.
holidays.
Look forward to it every year. Excellent.
I still have mine from last year.
Actually, does anyone else have any old or new business?
Nope.
No.
Okay, see if I can remember how to do this right. So now I would like to make a motion per RSA 91-A :3 2C to enter a non-public session.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Nope.